In this Power City weekly live stream, we look at the latest in the Power City ecosystem and talk about the simplicity and ease of passive income, passive DeFi yield through staking. So with no further ado, let me bring up my partner in crime, Mr. Just Ask Jesse in the house.
Hey, y'all. Hope everyone's having a great day.
Hope you're having a good one too, man. Good to see you. Where are we now in crypto? We've got elections around the corner. Is that in a month's time?
In 1 month, and I think crypto's doing kind of well. There's a lot of positive vibes and a lot of positive talk about crypto at the moment. You don't see any major pumps, big 5, 10, 20% moves in anything at the moment. The interesting thing to think about is there's a lot of people already in crypto. People are speculators. So people, who are speculating that this is the start of a bull market. It's almost like, to me, it feels like a lot of people already got in. So how many people are left? And is a president and his staff, who's in office, is that really going to make the vibe much stronger outside of our existing community where, the everyday mom and pop and farmer and stuff are going to pile into crypto? Maybe not. There's a lot of younger people who are technologically savvy who still have yet to jump on the bandwagon. But then there's also a lot of people who will never touch crypto because it's too confusing to them. Have you ever stood in line like at a store and watched an elderly person pull out their checkbook and take 3 or 4 minutes to fill out a check for their groceries or something? Those people still exist, and there's actually quite a bit of those people who will never in their life touch crypto, right? So how many people are in versus how many people are still to get in? Nobody knows, but we're speculating that positive things and positive regulations may be coming down the pipe if the right things happen with these elections.
Yeah, it seems like we're probably not going to get any major price movement until we get some stability after the elections. I think that's the same in the stock market. Obviously, crypto follows that. We've got obviously a few different candidates. I think Trump has said, let me bring this up on screen, he's quite pro-crypto. So if he gets in office, I think this could be good, but then we'll see how that pans out. But there's a lot of people, like you said, who are never going to touch crypto. I think it needs to become simplified in many aspects too for older generations to do it, like our parents and what's not. But let's see how that plays out. If someone's in power who's going to be more pro-crypto, I'm sure that's going to help with adoption. Right. But at the moment, we're holding the line pretty solid. We with Bitcoin, I think it hit 68 last week. Pulse Chain has seen some big price action. I think we've had a bit of a pullback in the last 24 hours, but that's life. That's crypto, right? Up and down.
Correct. And something else about crypto is, there's the crypto that we all see, as in, we see these ticker symbols and we can read about various protocols and such, or memes or whatever you're into. But there's a whole nother side of crypto that nobody ever sees. And that's the industries that are using their private blockchains to do transactions back and forth. It would be interesting to see some metrics on that. There are some institutions that transfer money back and forth between themselves using their own private, blockchain, their own crypto that they made, and their own reserves backing, with maybe what they call stable coins or whatever they call some of this stuff. A lot of that is kept private from us. But I will say this, the more institutions that at least dabble in that and start using that, a lot of that just simply goes towards the sentiment of, look, crypto is actually a very positive thing, makes transactions faster, it's verifiable, on these chains, and this is what we need for the future. So even some of that stuff that we don't see, hopefully there's a lot more being built that we don't know about.
And more vendors are taking crypto compared to 2021, the last bull run. I've certainly brought a few things with crypto, some things just everyday items, some things that, are more substantial. So vendors are taking it. And as time goes on, like everything, right, hopefully we see more adoption, we get more people into it. One thing I want to touch on today is staking 101, because like many people watching, I got into crypto for just number go up. And then as I went down the rabbit hole, I started playing with the Binance Smart Chain, the Cake token. Back in 2020 and 2021, there was some good APR for Cake, I think 100% at least. And that's what opened my eyes to, okay, this isn't complicated. You put your Cake tokens here and you're earning a return that's outcompetes anything in TradFi, right? So I think it's an easy way to dip your toe in the water. It's not too complicated. Something like liquidity providing or maybe something like that is a bit more intermediate, a bit more advanced, but staking is a way to make easier or, more hands-off passive income in DeFi, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one thing just to hold tokens and do nothing with them and just simply hope that the value goes up. It's a whole nother thing to hold tokens and do that, but be able to put them into a smart contract that allows you to earn a yield, so you can at least make something while you wait for that number to go up, or maybe it goes down, right? But you're speculating in this field, so why not put it in a place where you can earn something for it, or something that supports an ecosystem? So as in the case of stable coins, you have to have various mechanisms, but one of them is a way to purchase liquidated debt that's about to be bad debt, but you can get it at a discount from time to time by staking stable coins. So that's something where you, for example, where you can earn a yield and on occasion earn some discounted other coins, right? So why wouldn't you do that if you're just going to hold anyway?
Yeah, why are you going to let things gather dust? Like you said, you're speculating already. Why not have it working for you? And then also it opens up your mind that, okay, before I thought crypto was just about holding. Now that I'm staking these tokens, I'm getting a return on them. What else could I do? So I think it's a good way to dip your toe into, DeFi yield. As we touched on last week with the Earn protocol and the Flex protocol, obviously the main function of that is using your crypto as collateral to take a loan. But we have the stability pool and the staking pool there, still giving better APR than anything in TradFi.
Yeah, so people need to think of Earn protocol or Flex protocol as a bank, but instead of like an institution, think of something like Circle, where they hold the reserves that back the USDC that you might purchase off of a place like Coinbase. Instead of that occurring, either yourself or other people have put up the collateral, have put up the reserves aren't held in a common pool. The reserves are held in individual smart contracts, right, across many, many wallets. Those are basically that's the backing for all these stables. So instead of one institution holding the backing, it's hundreds or thousands of people holding the backing, okay, or hundreds or thousands of smart contracts, we'll say, holding the backing for the stables. So which one is safer? Okay, on one hand, you have an institution that can go bankrupt. They can be subject to various regulations. They could be sued. They could go insolvent at some point. They could have a mismanagement of their keys or of their bank accounts. They can falsify numbers. Whatever the case may be, right? There's some risk involved with an institution that holds all the power. All right. So instead, what you see with something like Flex is hundreds or thousands of individuals place up the backing for these stable coins, and the smart contracts themselves govern it. The smart contract is right there, and it has the rules for what happens with that collateral. Okay, and it's all verifiable and viewable on the chain, and it's immutable and unchangeable. That, in my opinion, is way safer than the institutional way to do things. So USDC and USDT, nowhere near as safe as something like PXDC, for example, or HexDC, or even some things that we built the front end for. On the liquid loan side, you've got something like USDL stablecoin. Okay, these things are unchangeable, and the rules are made in the smart contract for all to see. Okay, now what happens if there's bad debt? Well, now you have some stakers in a stability pool that their smart contracts say that they're going to purchase that bad debt at a discount. So they actually come out ahead if there's ever a liquidation or bad debt that occurs. So you've got this group of people that are both getting loans for themselves, minting stable coins. And then you've got this other group, or maybe some of the same people, that are staking into a stability pool. And that all of it together is acting like this big institution. But there's a safeness in that. One, like I said, it's all governed by smart contracts, but you have hundreds or thousands of people or wallet addresses that are all participating in it. No single failure point.
Yeah, it's good to reiterate the difference, because people that are maybe getting into crypto or just coming across staking, they might have seen staking on something like Binance, right? Or a centralized platform. And it's very different to staking in a smart contract, where that's code that's obviously that you're running yourself, that's running, and then you're locking up your tokens in a smart contract via putting it on a platform like FTX or like Binance or something like that, where obviously there's a point of failure, correct?
Yeah, so points of failure, stay away from them. So remember Celsius. Several years ago, you could sign up for the platform and deposit crypto, whether that be USDC stablecoin or DAI or ETH or whatever. Okay, and you would earn a yield on that. In fact, the yield was something like 7%. They advertised at something like 7%. But what you didn't know is, where did that yield come from? Because here you are on a central platform. You're giving your coins to them. Okay, and even something like think about Circle right now, or Coinbase. Okay, they offer a yield for staking your USDC. Where does the yield come from? Okay, because the system is managed by an institution. People have to put up $1, and in return, Circle will mint 1 USDC. So for the other people who are deciding to stake their USDC, where is the yield actually coming from? Either Circle is minting them out of thin air with no backing, or the institution is taking your crypto and gambling with it, or manipulating markets, or whatever that looks like, to try and earn extra value so that they can pay out that yield, or they're just taking from the later investors that giving to the earlier, right? Because it certainly isn't being done with smart contracts the same way. There's management behind the scenes, and it's very risky. So even something like Coinbase, I would be very hesitant. What happened with Celsius a few years ago is you would give them your crypto. Behind the scenes, they were trying to invest that, and they were losing badly. They made a lot of bad trades. You saw this with FTX as well. You would give FTX exchange your crypto. You would trade on their platform or store your crypto on their platform. And behind the scenes, they were just stealing all those coins and going and gambling with them and buying this and buying that, hoping the value of those things would go up so that they could pay, good returns back to everyone on the exchange. And that horribly failed. You saw what happened there, right? And SBF is in prison now, and so on and so forth. So institutions historically fail always. Okay, it's almost like it's a matter of time. Coinbase has lasted for a very long time. Will they last forever? I have no idea, but they're paying a yield to people with a stable coin. And to me, that's very odd. Okay. Um, the difference in DeFi is you can see exactly where the yield comes from. It's either coming from a pot of coins that are already sitting in a smart contract, emitting out to people. Okay, so you can see where that comes from. You can go look at the liquidity in the liquidity pools. You can see all that, right? You can see how much value is actually there. Or it's coming from fees paid by people. So people are using a platform, they're paying a fee, and that those fees trickle over to other users, who are staking in the platform. Or they're coming from something like a liquidation event where maybe some stakers in the stability pool are picking up some discounted coins, but in return, some of their coins are being burned, right? So all of that is visible. There's no questions about the ethics behind that. It's all clear. It's all honest and forthright. Exchanges and institutions are not honest. They're not forthright, and you can't see everything that's happening.
And on screen now, you can see the core where people can stake the WAT token or PLP, the PLP token, and stakers get a cut of the fees in the PowerCity ecosystem. So all of our dApps have a small fee, and that's why we talk about revenue over inflation, right?
Revenue over inflation. So we've always taken the stance that we would like for the fees, the things people are earning by staking to be real. And what do I mean by real? Not just coins that are minting themselves out of thin air and just inflating and constantly. Okay. And certainly not from early investors, just paying the later investors. Those are called Ponzi's. We want the yield to simply be you as a staker are supporting an ecosystem. And in return, because you're participating in that ecosystem, you're creating that community bank, you get a proportional amount of the fees that the people pay to take loans, for example. You get a proportional amount based on your position in the staking pool compared to other people's in the staking pool. When you do it that way, or even in the core you can stake, right? So you're showing an example of the core. Those are all fees from all our protocols. So if you're a Watt staker, the fees flow. Some of those fees flow to these stakers. They're real. It's not just coins that are minted out of thin air. Those are people willingly paying a fee to use a service, and they're paying that fee to you, essentially. That is the most sustainable way to run a staking platform. It may not always be the most sexy, okay? For example, a Ponzi can be very, very lucrative at the beginning, because if you're earning the most amount of coins and there's tons of users coming after you, like of course you're going to be like, oh, wow, my number's going up a lot and I'm getting a whole bunch of extra coins. Wow, this is great. But those things normally come to an end. Okay. With something like this, you're simply earning the fees. And as the crypto markets have more value, people have more money to play with, more usage of these protocols happens, which means you'll see more fees. So as crypto values go up, your fees should go up as well. As crypto values go down, people have less money to play with, less crypto to play with. Your fees that you're earning as a participant go down as well. It floats with the market instead of just constantly inflating no matter what the market's doing.
Yep. And we can see at the moment what stakers or PLP stakers are receiving PXDC, wrapped PLS, PulseX, loan token, USDL, HEXDC, and HEX. And they're flowing in from the Earn protocol, from the Flex protocol, from Amplifier, and PortalX Swap currently. We also, remember, have more dApps coming down the pipe. We have Amplifier for the Earn protocol coming, Amplifier for the Flex protocol. We have Pixel Park coming, NFT marketplace. So all of the dApps in the PowerCity ecosystem flow people pay a small fee when they use them. A cut of those fees go to the Watt stakers. And you can just come in here, as you can see on the dashboard homepage here. Very easy. Come in here. If you've got Watt in your wallet, connect your wallet, and you can stake it right here. So staking is a good way, I think, for people to dip their toe into DeFi. But of course, not all staking is created equal. Like we talked about, there's points of failure in something like Coinbase, FTX, obviously, Celsius that we saw. And then you have true DeFi, like the POWERCITY Core, like staking in the Earn protocol and Flex, which is code, and you are locking your tokens up in a smart contract and not trusting anyone.
Yep, just the code.
So good stuff, good stuff. So I wanted to touch on that today. Obviously, we're going to keep everyone updated with the timeline for our dApps. Obviously, we have, like I said before, we have the Earn protocol live, Flex protocol, the Core, Amplifier, and Portal X Swap. 5 live dApps at the moment, with more coming down the pipe. Jesse, anything you want to say before we sign off?
Nope. We'll pay close attention to the Pulse Chain Richard Hart legal case that he has. Maybe a court date later this month. We'll take a look at that. Hopefully, it's positive news for Pulse Chain and for Richard. And hopefully the elections will play a positive impact into crypto as well. So keep an eye on that. Let's see what happens.
Let's see what we're talking about next week. All right, man. Thanks, and we'll catch you next week.
See you.
And guys, to check out any of our live dApps, you can find the link in the description box below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one.